and welcome to the first ever State of the Best Damn Universe Mode. Review, rankings, and rants, man. Do whatever the hell I want here. It's my goddamn show. And we're going to start off looking at the week in review here, and here we go. NXT appointed by the independent NXT committee, new general manager Paul Heyman. This sends shockwaves across the Best Damn Universe Mode. And I'm going to kick off that because this is the biggest story of the week, and it led into NXT TakeOver, where we had the finals of all the championship tournaments. And here is the NXT Championship. And Bobby Roode, man, here we see the end of this match. Bobby Roode, big time glorious DDT there. A bloody Cassius-Ohno. Bobby Roode wins the NXT Championship. But the night was not over. We started hearing that ECW theme. We started seeing this blackout. And we're like, what the hell is going on? And we found out, man, Paul Heyman. Congratulations, Mr. Roode. However, the night is not quite over. Many have asked, why did I name this event NXT TakeOver The End when it's only the beginning? It's very simple, you see. This is the beginning of the end of NXT. I have been waiting patiently for many years for an opportunity like this, a second chance. The McMahons made a huge mistake because I am not the only free agent. All NXT talent are also free agents until they get called up or signed by WWE or WCW. Well, they were signed alright by Paul Heyman and ECW. You heard that correctly. I have played the game yet worked vigorously to bring back the Kool-Aid you have all been craving. Thanks to two men, I have been able to recreate the vision and revolution of ECW. One is an anonymous financial investor. The second, the one and only true World Heavyweight Champion. He will, however, no longer wear your title, McMahon. You see, he will be contractually fired at your next pay-per-view for no showing. So you can take your title, your concussion protocol, and your sports entertainment and shove them up your out-of-touch ass. The champ will be fighting and defending the ECW World Heavyweight title. And he starts right now as he faces Bobby Roode, title for title, to become the undisputed champion of the world. He will then wipe his ass with the NXT title as he burns NXT to the goddamn ground. The end. And after that, we see the unbelievable, man. You see Bobby Roode preparing for a fight, not knowing what the hell's going on. Everybody was shocked, and we were shocked and in awe of seeing this man, the music playing of Brock Lesnar, and seeing him come out as ECW World Heavyweight Champion on NXT television. This was unbelievable, man. What a moment here in the Best Damn Universe Mode. The crowd, a bunch of them were chanting Suplex City. Others were stunned silence. They didn't know what the hell to think, but here it was going on, man. Heyman, his master plan coming to fruition. He didn't waste time. Just named general manager. He immediately shut down NXT, and he was unifying the titles. As this match was going on, though, Brock Lesnar was like, man, what the hell's going on? Sanity's music played, and Killian Dane came into the ring to attack Brock Lesnar. And I'm going to have a little more on this, man. Some backstage kayfabe breaking news on this later on. Stay tuned about this moment. Remember this moment. And here we see, man, Bobby Roode came up, got up from the suplexes, still had something left in him, delivered the glorious DDT. And a lot of people here thought, man, can Bobby Roode pull this off? Is he going to defeat Brock Lesnar thanks to Killian Dane? But hell no. Brock Lesnar not only kicks out, but then this headbutt turned things around again, and he starts just clobbering Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode got one of the biggest beatings of his entire life in this impromptu match. And look at this, a referee goes down. Bobby Roode, Suplex City continues as he was trying to send him straight to hell. And speaking of hell, he lit this table on fire and then continued to kick the crap out of Bobby Roode and continued to ride him down Suplex City. And finally, here it is. F5 right on that damn burning table, crashing down Bobby Roode, his dreams, his hopes, battered, burned. And not only did he burn Bobby Roode, but with this F5, Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman burned NXT to the goddamn ground. To quote Paul Heyman. Look at that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And ECW, man, is back. Brock Lesnar became NXT and ECW World Heavyweight Champion. He's showing off the NXT Championship. They're telling everybody to kiss it goodbye. There you see him there. Kiss it goodbye. Unbelievable. We don't know what the hell McMahon's going to do. Both McMahons are going to do with NXT. A little more on that later on, but let's keep continuing here with the highlights. More news from NXT. Colt Cabana, man, suffered a serious injury right here. Neck injury. Look at that. Neck injury. He's getting CT scans. We hope Cabana comes back soon. Our prayers are with him and thoughts. Here's the rest of the night, man. An NXT TakeOver, the championship finals. The NXT Tag Team Championships finals. The Young Bucks became new NXT Tag Team Championships by defeating the Revival. Big win there, man, for the Young Bucks. And again, what's going to happen with these titles, we don't know. And then the highly anticipated match between Awesome Kong and Asuka. Awesome Kong was beating the hell out of this woman. She would not stay down. It took Asuka these vicious, cringing, look at that, just beating her with that sledgehammer everywhere. Asuka calculating, evil intentions. Thank God she missed her head there, but she did not miss that one. And Asuka just finished off Awesome Kong. Again, it took that sledgehammer. Asuka celebrating her NXT Championship win. And as she was celebrating, got a little surprise here. Nia Jax, who was in WWE, and we actually found out that Nia Jax was sent down by Mr. McMahon to NXT to get quote-unquote seasoned a little more before she makes her Raw debut. And this might have cost Mr. McMahon, because Paul Heyman, he might have signed this woman. She might be part of ECW right now. We don't know. But McMahon, we heard he did that for other purposes. But well, let's get forward here, man. We're going to have more on that later. And here we go. The Cruiserweight Championship Tournament also happened this week, right before NXT TakeOver. And here we see the Bullet Club and Finn Balor trying to recruit his old buddy Neville to join the Bullet Club as they're trying to expand into the Cruiserweight division. Then we see Finn Balor coming out here, distracting Neville, getting in his face. He did not take kindly to Neville saying no. And Kalisto picks up the win there in the semifinals and knocks Neville out of the tournament. Neville couldn't believe it. Balor clapping here, and a tension between Neville and Balor. We're going to see what's going to happen there. And this was the finals of the Cruiserweight Championship. It was Dean Malenko and Kalisto in the finals. And you know what? We didn't see Balor come out, so I don't know if he's really sponsoring Kalisto or not. But we'll find out more about that, man. It looked like he was just out there against Neville because he didn't like to take a no for an answer. But here we go, man. Kalisto was in charge of this match. A bloody Dean Malenko. Kalisto trying to take him out with a Salida del Sol. And look at this counter. Dean Malenko with a beautiful power slam there, knocking the wind out of Kalisto. And he became the new and the first Cruiserweight champion here on the Best Damn Universe mode. And more on that division a little later on in WCW Saturday Night, as this was a special edition, man. Unbelievable. Great tournament. Great one-night tournament. And Dean Malenko, your Cruiserweight champion. Here's the results. He beat Kalisto in the finals, Tyson Kidd in the semis, and first round Ultimo Dragon. Impressive. And we go over now to WCW as Shane O'Mac started off the week with a big splash, man, announcing the Japan Super Show. He would be collaborating with IWGP, with New Japan. And it will be IWGP champions, the United States champion Kenny Omega and the IWGP World Heavyweight champion Okada in singles competition against their counterparts, the WCW champions. The US champion Eddie Guerrero will battle Kenny Omega, and Stone Cold will battle Okada. What an announcement, man, by Shane McMahon to start off the week in the Japan Super Show. But that was not all. we have another announcement. 6-man extravaganza in Japan. The Bullet Club, where they started, will take on the Click. Who is just too sweet? We're going to find out. You're right. Don't miss the Japan Super Show. The best damn universe. Well, it's going to be awesome, man. After that announcement, we had the rematch, a rubber match. CM Punk, Stone Cold Steve Austin for the world title inside a steel cage. CM Punk looked awesome in this rematch. It looked at a moment that he was going to capture back the WCW Championship, but Stone Cold kicked out of the GTS. A bloody CM Punk, though, showing a lot of heart, man, continuing to fight back. He had blocked a few stunners, makes his comeback here, but then here's the story of the match, and here's where a lot of it changed here. CM Punk going up for his big elbow. He go high in the air, and he crashes down. He missed a few of those. But he's still in it, man. Still trying to fight. Blocks a stunner. Austin, though, with the reversal. And CM Punk would not block this one. This is the second stunner of the match. Stone Cold Steve Austin hitting a second stunner on a bloody CM Punk, who unbelievably kicked out of that. And Austin could not believe it, man. Austin in shock, but he smelled the blood and like a damn shark right on top of CM Punk. And here's Austin, a third and final stunner there. Stone Cold retains, and he's on to Japan to face Okada. What a steel cage match, a main event Nitro this past week, man. Unbelievable. Crazy, crazy week, man. Crazy busy week. And then we go on to Raw. We're not done there. Tuesday Night Raw. Raw is War, and the announcement of the return of the prestigious King of the Ring tournament, baby. King of the Ring is coming back, and I'm excited. And look at this. Kevin Owens, part of the first qualifying match. We had 3 qualifying matches. Owens, Xavier Woods. Owens having a little fun at the beginning, but it did not cost him at the end as he delivers a big-time pop-up powerbomb, and Owens advances. Our second qualifying match, a little history here. The Von Erichs have been getting a beating by the Hart Foundation week after week. Finally, to even the odds, Dusty Rhodes makes his return to his fellow Texans, and here he is in the ring, man. American Dream Dusty Rhodes pinning Bret the Hitman Hart in 6-man action. And then, this past week, big-time elbow there, busting open Owen Hart, and Dusty Rhodes pins both Owen and Bret Hart, man, back-to-back weeks, and Dusty, second man to advance after Kevin Owens to the King of the Ring tournament. And the final match on Raw, final qualifying match on Raw for the King of the Ring, Sting. Mr. Perfect was in control of this match, but Sting, it took only this one hold, man, to get Mr. Perfect to tap out, and Bobby Heenan could not believe it. Sting going to the King of the Ring tournament. So those 3 men qualified. Then the action didn't stop there, man. Number 1 contenders match announced for next week. Undertaker, Seth Rollins. But for the amusement of Vince McMahon, he signed them to a tag team match against the Natural Disasters. And here we see him coming down, man. He wanted to punish them. Well, he gave them an opportunity, but he punished them for them coming out here demanding number 1 contendership. So he made him fight for it next week and this week for his own amusement. But I don't know if McMahon was amused, but the Natural Disasters sure weren't. As a big-time last ride, man. And then Seth Rollins, these 2 guys worked beautifully together at the end of that match. A lot of respect here shown between Undertaker and Rollins, but they know this coming week, they're going to face off, man, in the main event, number 1 contenders. More on that later, but look at this, 2 out of 3 falls. This was our main event, the rubber match, the rematch for the New Day against Demolition. And here we go, New Day awaiting Demolition, but they were not awaiting what we're going to see right now. Not 1 and not 2, but 3 Demolition members. Demolition smartened up, and they said, hey, we're bringing back Crush, and we are going to even the odds against the New Day. So no more handicap advantage here for the New Day with the man outside the ring. Crush was here to watch the back of Axe and Smash. This was man against man, and here's Big E. The New Day had control of this match early on. Big E with the big ending. 1, 2, Smash trying to come in. He doesn't get there, and the New Day win the first fall. After this first fall, though, man, Big E got his ass kicked. Demolition cut off the ring, did not let him tag to Kofi. And here's the second fall. Demolition picks it up against a stunned, and we don't know if Big E is hurt or not, man. Supposedly he's okay, but in this match he got knocked loony, as you saw there. He's just standing there in the corner, did not fight back. And there you see Kofi, man, still trying to get the damn tag. But Demolition, too strong at the end, too smart, cutting off that ring. And Demolition, now with Crush, retained the Tag Team Championship. And there are your highlights for the week, man. Unbelievable. And wow, what a busy, busy week here on the Best Damn Universe mode. From WCW Nitro and the announcement of the Japan Super Show onto the main event of CM Punk and Stone Cold Steve Austin in their rematch inside a steel cage for the WCW Championship. And then we went on to Raw is War, where we had the announcement that the King of the Ring is coming back. We had 3 big qualifying matches and then a big time main event, tag team titles on the line, 2 out of 3 falls. Then we went on to NXT, where Paul Heyman was announced as the general manager of NXT to try to get an unbiased figure in NXT to run things smoothly after the mockery that Vince McMahon had been making out of NXT and Shane McMahon paying kind of no attention to NXT at the moment. So we went from there on to then we had the WCW Saturday Night Special with the Cruiserweight Championship Tournament. We saw Dean Malenko get crowned as the champion. And then it ended all well with The End, appropriately called NXT The End. And we found out why it was called The End, and a tremendous end to that, man. I have been, and that actually is probably the reason that I'm doing this review rankings rant episode here, if you will, of the Best Damn Universe mode. And now I'm going to take you actually in a backstage, as kind of a backstage look at Universe mode. We just saw some tremendous highlights of everything we just talked about. Now the weekend review. I don't know if this is going to be a weekly thing. I'm not sure if I'm going to do this every week or once a month. But you know what? We'll play it by ear. It's going to be a state of the Best Damn Universe mode address. Little episode once in a while, or maybe when something huge happens, we want to recap what's going on, take a step back, take a breath, see where we're going to go after this. So, because after that, man, after that ECW and Brock Lesnar thing went down, and like I said a little bit, and I'll touch on it now. I said a little bit, and I said I was going to touch on it now. When the Killian Dane came out and attacked, and this is backstage breaking kayfabe news, man. When Killian Dane came out, that was not part of the quote-unquote script. Did I want Brock Lesnar to come out? Absolutely, I had that in mind. You know, the end of NXT, title for title. Brock Lesnar was going to come out and just destroy Bobby Roode, man. But you know what? This is kind of what makes this the Best Damn Universe mode. I'm not overly scripted. I have an idea of where I'm going, but I will let the Universe mode play out, man. Sometimes they even, the Universe mode on its own will do automatic rivalries, and most of the time I just scratch them off and I do my own rivalries because it's a lot better. Sometimes they make no sense. However, you know what? That made sense, man. So I left it into that. Killian Dane just coming out of nowhere, attacking and being that Eric Young, Insanity, is now the #1 contender for the NXT Championship, and being that, ECW is going to have all the NXT talent. So Killian Dane came out, Sanity sending a message to Brock Lesnar. Or maybe they didn't want to face Brock Lesnar. Maybe that's the thing. Killian Dane was sent out there by Eric Young because he wanted Bobby Roode to win the match. He did not want to have to face Brock Lesnar for either the ECW or NXT title, whatever happens after this point. But just those interesting things, man. Those dynamics, that's what I'm trying to get at here with the Best Damn Universe mode. Just, it's not overly scripted. It's not overly produced. I do have an idea of where I'm going to go. Sometimes I have an idea of who I want to win, but most of the time, actually, I let the match play out. I'll tell you what, I wanted CM Punk to win that match. I wanted him to beat Stone Cold Steve Austin and go on and face Okada. I think that would have been a great match, a better attraction. I think they match up better. But hey, Stone Cold Steve Austin ruined those plans. Stone Cold Steve Austin was just a better man on that day, so I let it be. Stone Cold, it was meant to be. And it's going to be Stone Cold in Japan against Okada, which is also going to be a huge match. And maybe some people think that that's even a better match. But we'll find out. But that's what I said. I let it play out. I have an idea. I have a roadmap. but the map could always take me in different, it could always branch out into different directions. So just to give you guys a little backstage of what I'm thinking of how this is going through. If anybody is watching this anyway, because that's another thing, man, I get views on here. When I got views on the early ones, were the way YouTube is set up and the algorithms and all this. I mean, the early ones, when I first started posting, got a lot of views. I had like I think I have close to 60 likes or something, and a few thousand views on my first episode ever. And now I'm barely getting over a few hundred views. So, it's kind of difficult to make it interactive. And again, I do this as a hobby. I'm not doing this to make money. This is a hobby. This is great for me, great for my mental health, my great escape from the rigors of everyday life. As I've been saying, I work in the financial sector at a hospital, so I do a lot of boring stuff, data entry, numbers, collections. I'm going to school. I'm getting my master's in business administration, so I'm busy with that, doing online as well. That kind of prevents me from uploading so much as well. But I do it, but I do it for fun. I don't have any timetables. When I can, I get to it. I try to get to it every week and move it forward. This is part of my rant, but hey, this is my show, and I rant if I feel like it anyway. There's probably nobody watching. If there is, thank you. Give me some feedback. And again, just because I'm not doing it for money doesn't mean that I don't appreciate feedback, because it would be more fun to have an interactive to get that feedback, to have interactions. I have had some interactions. Look, when in the early episodes, somebody said, "Hey, why don't you bring back ECW?" And I heard that from a few followers. I heard that from a few people who like my videos and commented, and they said, "Why don't you bring ECW back?" Well, guess what? I heard you guys, and here in 2K18, I'm bringing back ECW. We don't know exactly where we're going yet, and I do have an idea, but it's kind of a surprise. So, I'm just gonna let it play out. I'll let you guys watch this week, and I'll play around with it, but ECW is going to be here to stay. We don't know what's going to happen with NXT. We're going to see what Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon decide how they're going to move forward with NXT. But enough of me ranting. Let's just take a quick look now at behind the scene here. As we see, the next show is going to be Nitro. Let's take a quick look at the calendar. And here we go. This is the calendar here for May, and we have just gone through the first week of May. That's what we just reviewed and saw the highlights for. Again, a crazy, crazy busy week, ending in NXT TakeOver. The end, which is the end of NXT. However, we still have it here on the calendar. So as of this week, next week is going to change. ECW is going to be replacing NXT, like I said. I don't know exactly where I'm going to go with it, what day it's going to be on, how it's going to happen, but you'll see. For right now, for the purposes of this review, I'm just going to go ahead and stick with NXT, because this is how the week ended. And when we go look at the rankings, you'll see a little more on that. But right now we see here the upcoming pay-per-views and the Japan Super Show for WCW. And we heard the big news about the Click and the Bullet Club going at it in Japan. That's going to be huge, as well as both champions, world champions and U.S. champions from both promotions, IWGP and WCW, going at it there. We're going to see Kenny Omega. We're going to see Okada. That Japan Super Show is going to be awesome. Then we have the King of the Ring to finish off the month. WWE's big pay-per-view, bringing back the prestigious King of the Ring. And we're going to see what happened, because Brock Lesnar was supposed to defend the WWE Championship there, and we heard Paul Heyman claiming that he will no-show. So as per what McMahon said on Raw a few weeks ago before Extreme Rules, that if Brock Lesnar had 30 days to defend the championship, and now he will be stripped of the title, he had to clear the concussion protocol and defend the belt. And Paul Heyman, as we just saw, just told McMahon to basically kiss his ass and take that concussion protocol, take the damn title, shove it up his ass. So Vince McMahon has a lot of important decision coming up, and we're going to see it's going to be an interesting week, especially for Raw is War, man, and what the hell is going to go on there. So excited to see that on Raw is War. And here we go, WCW. I want to talk a little bit about WCW Saturday Night, because that was just brought back for the Cruiserweight Championship tournament. And now that we crowned a Cruiserweight, I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this, and you guys give me feedback. Should I keep this as a separate show, like kind of a 205 live thing. And the reason I kept it on here, and I might keep it on here, even if I don't show it as a weekly show, is so I could be able to rank the contenders for the Cruiserweight Championship. And let's show you what I mean. Let's go now to the championships. I'm wasting more time. The calendar. I'm going to go to the rankings in the championship, and we'll start with the WCW and see why WCW Cruiserweight Championship, and see why I keep it on there. Why I keep the show on there so I can rank the cruiserweights. So take a look at this. A little backstage look. And here we go. So we're in the championships here, and I'll show you exactly why. Let's go to Dean Malenko here in the cruiserweight. Yeah, there he is. See, so I got Dean Malenko. Since it's a major show, WCW Saturday Night, where I only have the cruiserweights, I'm able to rank all the cruiserweights. Here we see Dean Malenko. We see Kalisto's the #1 contender. He was the last man in there in the tournament who lost to Dean Malenko. We have Neville. We have Tyson Kidd, who had an awesome tournament. Hideo Itami, Ultimo Dragon, Austin Aries, the Brian Kendrick. Then we have Jushin Thunder Liger, TJP, Roderick Strong, Rich Swann, Cedric Alexander, Jack Gallagher, Akira Tozawa, Grand Metalik, Noam Dar. And that rounds off. So right now we have total 17 cruiserweights, man, vying for the title. Good. And we have a few that might make an appearance that I have in mind. That might be making an appearance in WCW in the cruiserweight division. The likes of maybe Rey Mysterio and others that I have in mind. So, but for right now, this is the cruiserweight division, and this is why I keep it on there. And let's go back to the championships here, and I'll show you why. We see Brock Lesnar just won the ECW World Heavyweight Championship, or was proclaimed the world champion by Heyman. And we'll see if we click on this. You see right now, I can't rank everybody who is there. It just goes to the history of the championship. And there we go, Bam Bam Bigelow, Rhino, I guess, the former ECW champions. And here's another good example. So IWGP Heavyweight Champion is Okada, but there is no major show. I don't have an IWGP show going on. So here we go. We see no rankings, nothing. So that's how the Cruiserweight Championship would look if I didn't have that show. So I'm probably going to keep WCW Saturday Night on there. And who knows? I might run weekly shows, or once in a while have a Cruiserweight special. We might do that. So I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but just a little inside look at why. And here we go. You see Kenny Omega, the IWGP US Championship, same thing. All right, so let's go to the rankings, the power rankings for this week. Okay, and here we go. These are the power rankings, and I went through them a little bit when we started WWE 2K18, and I did my preview show. And like I said, I'm not sure if this is going to be a weekly thing. I'm going to go over the power rankings. I thought I was, but looking at it, and after playing the game and playing a week by week, the rankings change. And I mean, I have to go through it and manually change almost the entire thing. I'm just kind of using the top 50 right now. But I have to change the entire thing because you had someone like Xavier Woods who lost to Kevin Owens this week for the qualifying match. And also part of the New Day. The New Day lost the Tag Team Championship rematch. And he was ranked, I think he was like 8 or 9 or 10, something like he was up there high, man, Xavier Woods. For what reason? I have no idea. So this is all flawed. But I manually have fixed this according to what went on, what happened, and who I think should be up there. And here we go, a little quick look at the power rankings for this week. And again, I don't know if I'm going to keep this up. I don't know how often it's going to happen, but let's just take a quick look. Brock Lesnar has to be #1, man, after what he did. I mean, Extreme Rules, he won the title back, proclaimed ECW champion, now unified the ECW and NXT titles, and just the aura, man, and the awe in that moment. I'm still speechless from that. The ECW coming back to NXT, and just the big splash, I guess, that Brock Lesnar has made in the entire universe mode here. So he's #1. #2 is, of course, your WCW World Heavyweight Champion, Stone Cold Steve Austin, who successfully defended against CM Punk. Then we have Seth Rollins and The Undertaker, who are going to battle for #1 contendership. And who knows what's going to happen there? They have no number one contender to what? I mean, the title is basically thrown in the trash. We don't have a WWE champion, or we do, it's Brock Lesnar, but he's basically not going to defend. So that's a interesting dynamic going into this coming week. Then we got Asuka, who's the NXT women's champion now, and looked tremendous in that match, showed so much heart. and aggression in taking out Awesome Kong. Then we have Shawn Michaels, we got Finn Balor, we got Goldberg, all three men in line for WCW World Title shot. So that's going to be Austin's next contenders right there so far. We have Roman Reigns, who's looked awesome as well. He's number 10. And we round off number 9. We round off number 10 with Samoa Joe, who has looked awesome, even though he's a free agent. He's got nothing. And like I said, we might see Samoa Joe pop up in ECW, and maybe this makes sense that Paul Heyman was in the pocket of Samoa Joe this whole time and didn't want him to sign with WCW. He's just been around thanks to CM Punk, and he's gotten a few matches. Tapped out Ric Flair this week in a few minutes, and that match didn't even last a minute, I think. Impressive showing by Joe, and impressive showing by him the previous week against Stone Cold Steve Austin. And to round it out, the Intercontinental Champion Bret the Hitman Hart, his number 1 contender, the Ultimate Warrior. CM Punk has dropped down to number 13. We have Bobby Roode, who became the NXT Champion and then lost it right away. We know the story there with Brock Lesnar. We got Axe and Smash here of Demolition, the Tag Team Champions in WWE. Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, the NXT Champions. Then the Tag Team Champions in ECW, we got Arn Anderson, Larry Sabisco. We have Eddie Guerrero, the United States Champion. Trish Stratus, the Women's Champion. Paige. We have Dean Malenko, Cruiserweight Champion. Nash, Hall, Kevin Owens, Dusty Rhodes, Sting, all three men who qualified for the King of the Ring at number 30. Then Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, the Bullet Club. Number 1 contender, Alundra Blaze, for the WCW Women's Championship. We got Charlotte, who's the number 1 contender on Raw and WWE. Awesome Kong, Xavier Woods, Big E, Kofi Kingston, The New Day, Randy Orton, former IC champion, AJ Styles, who's pissed off about being so far down. And you see his goal there to become number 1 contender. He feels McMahon is holding him down, and we'll hear more about that on Raw. We got Cassius Ohno, made it to the finals of the NXT Championship Tournament. We got Chyna, Kurt Angle, number 42, 43, Triple H, The Rock, we're in contention there for the King of the Ring. John Cena as well. 46, Neville. Kalisto was in the finals of the tournament. Daniel Bryan. Sami Zayn at number 50. We're going to round out with Bray Wyatt, who's in a feud right now with Goldberg, trying to make his life a living hell. So there is your top 50. And I don't want to get into more of the power ranking. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to keep it. Maybe I should just do top 20, top 25 maybe. And then rank him from there. So we'll see. I'll play around with it again. Again, we're just getting started here on 2K18 and still getting started with this the Best Damn Universe mode, man. Things could change. So for right now, that's your top 50 ranking. Now let's take a look title for title, the rankings, which that's what I'm going to use actually more as for the shows. That's what I'm going to use for the shows to rank the competitors. And that's what we're going to try to do, man. We're trying to make the championships very prestigious here and treat it more like a sports environment, you know, where you have those contenders or boxing or something like that. Hey, the number 1 contenders, you move up the rankings. That's what it's about. We have storylines, but it's about championships, man. It's about championships, winning titles, winning matches. So let's go take a look at the rankings, and we'll start with NXT, which may be the last time we see NXT in the rankings. So... and here we go. There's the NXT champion, Brock Lesnar. And we don't know what's going to happen with NXT. We know that Brock Lesnar, is going to represent ECW as his world champion. So we don't know if both McMahons are going to continue with NXT. And we're going to find that out sooner than later, I'm hoping. But for right now, this is the last, maybe the last standings ever for NXT, the last rankings. Brock Lesnar. Number 1, Eric Young, who became the number 1 contender by defeating Adam Cole at NXT TakeOver. Bobby Roode, who was the former NXT champion for like 5 seconds. Cassius Ohno, who looked great in that tournament in the finals against Bobby Roode. Cody Rhodes, big win in NXT TakeOver. Number 5, Adam Cole. Number 6, Ty Dillinger, who got a nice win in the pre-show. And Aleister Black at number 7. And we rounded off with Dolph Ziggler here. So that's the top contenders. All those guys, I'm imagining, are now signed by Paul Heyman or with Paul Heyman. He said he signed all the talent. I'm not sure if everybody signed or if there was anybody left over that the McMahons are going to sign. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens there. Let's take a look at the women's. And here's the women's ranking. NXT, Asuka, the NXT champion. Awesome Kong, Ember Moon, Naomi, Nikki Cross, Emma, Dana Brooke, Carmella, and Alicia Fox. So that's your NXT women's division there. And I said Asuka, the NXT champion. What a battle she had. What a fight with Awesome Kong that was, man. Let's take a look at the tag teams now. And here are the NXT tag team champions, the Young Bucks, who beat the Revival in the finals of that tournament. Then we have Sanity. We have the Undisputed Era. We have Authors of Pain, DIY. We have the Ascension, Breezango, TM61, Heath Slater and Rhino, the Hype Bros, the Colons, the Bushwhackers. And that rounds out the... So we got 13 teams, man. The stacked tag team division for NXT, or now ECW again. How many of these guys will stick with ECW? How many didn't sign with Heyman? We're going to find all that out in the coming weeks. And let's jump now. Let's go back then and jump to WCW and take a look at the standings, the rankings there. And here we go. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the WCW World Heavyweight Champion. And we don't have a clear-cut #1 contender now. I would say Shawn Michaels, Finn Balor, and Goldberg are all up there for their accomplishments. I mean, Michaels beating Hulk Hogan, Finn Balor, big win over Ric Flair, Goldberg beating Kurt Angle. So those guys are the top 3 right now, with Michaels and Balor going at it in their feud. And let's see what's going to happen. We're going to have some announcements on Nitro concerning #1 contendership as well. So stay tuned for that. Then we have Kurt Angle at #4. We got CM Punk dropping down to 5. We have the Nature Boy Ric Flair. And then we have Hulk Hogan, who, as I said previously in my other preview show, Hulk Hogan, we don't know what's going to happen here. WWE 2K18, he has been injured. He was injured after that match with Shawn Michaels at Extreme Rules. And we don't know when Hogan's going to be back or if he's going to be back. And we will find out more on that as time goes on. So let's take a look at the women's now. And here is the women's division in WCW. The champion is Paige. And unlike the men, we do have a clear-cut #1 contender who's Alundra Blaze, as she won a match to become the #1 contender on Nitro. We have Brie Bella at #2. We have Sasha Banks then following her at 3. Lita, Bayley, Alexa Bliss, and Tamina. So there is your women's division in WCW. Let's take a look now at the United States Championship. And here we go. This is the United States Championship standings, the division. Eddie Guerrero is your United States Champion. He successfully defended 2 out of 3 Falls Classic match against Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. He's now looking for a new #1 contender again. Just like the men's, the World Heavyweight Championship, we do not have a clear #1 contender. Daniel Bryan is up there by default, as he was the first man drafted in the original draft in 2K17 by Shane McMahon in this United States Championship round. He did not lose the match. He did not get pinned in that match. So, yeah, he hasn't lost. We haven't seen Daniel Bryan actually since then, but we're going to find out a lot more this week, as well as the World Heavyweight Championship. We're going to find out also about the United States #1 contender as well. So we got Daniel Bryan, we have Sami Zayn, and we have Randy Savage, who are the top 3 contenders here for the United States Championship, with Bray Wyatt, Chris Jericho, Cesaro, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat filling out this division. Nice mid-card here for the United States Championship for WCW. Good strong mid-card, man. We're going to see what's going to happen. Now let's take a look at the Tag Team Championships here in WCW. And here we go. WCW World Tag Team Championship. The champions, the Enforcers, Larry Sabisco and Arn Anderson, who defeated the Club. The Club only held that belt, the Bullet Club, for 1 day. And they were cost the championship by the attack by the Click. And that has made things very personal against the Click and the Bullet Club. So we don't know who, I mean, they're by default the #1 contenders as they're the former champions. But right now they are in a feud with the Click. We're going to see what comes out of that. After the Click, we have the Wyatt family. We have Edge and Christian. We have the Road Warriors. We have American Alpha, Sheamus and Cesaro. And yes, we still have the Hardy Boys. And there you see a broken Matt and brother Nero. Looks like they were having some kind of trouble, a fallout. We don't know, but we have not seen him since after losing in the finals of that tournament to the Bullet Club at Slammiversary. We have not seen the Hardys. We don't know what's happening with them, but I'm sure we'll find out as time goes on. So now let's go to WWE and take a look at their standings. And here we go. Very interesting here, man, because WWE Champion is still, as of this moment, Brock Lesnar. But once again, we heard from Paul Heyman, Lesnar will no-show at the King of the Ring and contractually be fired from WWE, meaning that then he will be allowed to compete in ECW and be the ECW World Heavyweight Champion instead of the WWE Champion. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens here with the title, as we have the remaining men in this division is Seth Rollins and The Undertaker. Seth Rollins, former champion, so by default he's there as number one. But him and The Undertaker, we're going to have a number one contenders match on Raw this week, and we're going to see what's going to happen with that. What announcement Vince McMahon's going to make concerning the WWE Championship and that number one contender match. We also have Roman Reigns then right at number 3, right behind by a hair there, chinny chin chin, man. Roman Reigns is there because he has looked awesome, defeating AJ Styles on Raw, defeating John Cena in that Falls Count Anywhere Classic and Extreme Rules. So Roman Reigns, clearly, these are your top 3 contenders. Then we have Triple H and The Rock, who traded back victories back and forth on the early episodes of Monday of Raw is War. And then we have John Cena. And to round it off is AJ Styles, who's still pissed off that he's down there. He feels like he should be ahead of most of these guys. So we're going to see interesting there with this division and what's going to happen with the WWE Championship. Let's take a look now at the Intercontinental Championship. Here is the Intercontinental Championship standings, the rankings. Bret the Hitman Hart is your Intercontinental Champion, as he defeated Randy Orton at Extreme Rules in that ladder match. Clear-cut number one contender in this division is the Ultimate Warrior. He will be facing Bret the Hitman Hart at the King of the Ring for the Intercontinental Championship. And I'm just announcing that right now. It will be officially announced on Raw, but I'm giving you first take here, man. Ultimate Warrior will face Bret the Hitman Hart for the title at King of the Ring. Warrior won that triple threat match at Extreme Rules to become the number one contender. Dusty Rhodes right behind Ultimate Warrior, as Dusty Rhodes has come back here, as we saw in those highlights, with a vengeance to WWE. Big time win to qualify for the King of the Ring against Owen Hart this past week. But an even bigger victory, I would say, maybe pinning Bret the Hitman Hart in that 6-man tag team match. That has gotten him all the way to number 2 in the Intercontinental Championship rankings. And he for sure will probably have a future title match depending on who wins between Warrior and Bret the Hitman Hart. But for right now, Dusty Rhodes the King of the Ring. So is Sting, who's number 3, and he's in the King of the Ring tournament. Randy Orton, your former Intercontinental Champion, at number 4. Number 5, Kerry Von Erich, followed by Kevin Owens, who's also qualified for the King of the Ring. Then you have Mr. Perfect. We have Dean Ambrose, and we have Lex Luger, the Narcissist. A nice, just like WCW, man, a stacked, pretty damn good roster here. Sorry, pretty damn good a bunch of superstars competing for the Intercontinental Champion in the mid card of WWE. Now let's take a look at the women's. And here's your women's division in WWE. The champion Trish Stratus with that huge victory and another classic at Extreme Rules, man. If you watch anything on my channel, go back, see Extreme Rules, and watch Trish Stratus versus Chyna in that last women's standing match. That was awesome. And like I said, John Cena and Roman Reigns in that Falls Count Anywhere match was pretty damn good as well. Extreme Rules gave us a few good moments there, good matches. Number one contender here. We have a clear number one contender. Charlotte won a battle royal several weeks ago on Raw, and she is waiting in the wings. She will face Trish Stratus at the King of the Ring for the Women's Championship. So it will be Charlotte versus Trish. Natalya, who had a big win against Trish Stratus on Raw, is your number 2 contender right behind. Chyna is at number 3 right now, and she is pissed, man. She attacked Charlotte this past week on Raw, and let's see what comes out of that. But Chyna pissed off that she is not champion anymore. We have Nia Jax And this is interesting because we had Nia Jax here, but we just, as we saw, she attacked Asuka after Asuka won the NXT Championship. And as I stated earlier, Nia Jax was actually traded down by Mr. McMahon, was traded down to NXT. He sent her to NXT for a while. He said it was to get her going, to get her career going, that she needed more seasoning, I think were the words that McMahon used. But we all know he was making room for a free agent, Beth Phoenix, I have heard, that both McMahons were looking at it. He's making room to sign her. So he sent down Nia Jax, and that might have bit him in the ass, because I do believe now that Nia Jax will be part of ECW, and that's why we saw that big attack. And Nia Jax, so for right now she's number 4, but Nia Jax is not, will probably not be in the women's division here in WWE. Then we have Becky Lynch, we got Mickie James, and we rounded off with Nikki Bella. So this is your women's division as of right now. Like I said, Nia Jax might be moved. We might be introducing Beth Phoenix into this division. So let's see what happens with that. Let's take a look now at the Tag Team Championships. And here we go, last but not least, the WWE World Tag Team Championship. Demolition successfully defends against the New Day. Will they be looking for new contenders pretty soon? As they say, the New Day's still #1 contenders as of right now. But we have the Von Erichs right behind them with that big 6-man tag team win against the Hart Foundation. We have the Usos. We have the British Bulldogs, who are just together. We have not seen him yet, but Davey Boy Smith has been signed. I'm sorry, Dynamite Kid has been signed, and he's joining the British Bulldog. They're part of the Hart Foundation too, but they have split up. They're their own tag team right now. They're reforming the British Bulldogs and going after the tag team championship. So this is going to be very interesting. We see the Natural Disasters, who lost to Rollins and the Undertaker last week on Raw. First time we saw them. Best Damn Universe. We have the Dudley Boys, and then we round off the tag team division with Enzo Amore and Big Cass. So there are your standings for the tag team championships. So there you go. I think that was long enough. Damn it. I'm tired. I'm winded. And I had a little rant here. I had a lot of information to get out. Things to sort out even in my head. That now after looking at all this, I'm kind of getting some ideas. The wheels are turning. And see how I'm going to move forward. So that's it for now. Join me next on WCW Monday Nitro. We're going to have a great show there. Thanks for watching the best damn Universe Mode.